This program, of course, is presented by Pro Wrestling Illustrated, the most widely read, widely sold, and respected wrestling magazine in the world today.
Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Podcast, episode number 5. I'm your host, PWI Senior Writer Al Castle. I'm flying solo today, but you will be hearing real soon from somebody really special, and that is former WWE World Champion, Money in the Bank winner, Royal Rumble winner. I am talking about Alberto El Patron, the former Alberto Del Rio. Joined me for about an hour for a future edition of PWI press conference. This isn't going to run until the June issue of PWI, which we haven't even finished putting together yet. And it doesn't hit newsstands for about 2 months. So this is a real treat for certainly for me, and I hope for you. We've got excerpts from that interview, and it is certainly very newsworthy. If you enjoyed CM Punk's podcast with Cole Cabana, where he spilled all kinds of beans about his departure from WWE, I think you're going to enjoy this one too, because it's certainly in the same vein, and that is not hyperbole. Alberto talks about everything. Certainly, he talks about his affiliation now with Ring of Honor, with Lucha Underground. That news just came out last week. And he dropped some pretty big hints about somebody who might be joining him at Lucha Underground. I put 2 and 2 together, and maybe you will too. And he talks about rumors about TNA and why he didn't sign with them. As much as he can, he talks about the incident with WWE that led to his departure. By now, you heard about his backstage altercation with the WWE an office worker. And again, tiptoes around it somewhat, but I think says a lot about what happened there. Gives some news about who helped with his legal bills in this fight with WWE. Talks about his frustrations with WWE in his last couple years, his frustrations with creative, his frustrations with WWE's pay. He gives some figures, and they're pretty remarkable, if for all the wrong reasons. I asked him a bit about WWE's history of not portraying ethnic wrestlers maybe with the right sensitivity. He talked a little bit about that, stereotypes in wrestling. He talks about life after WWE, how he's doing, what kind of money he's making now, whether there is life after WWE, and he does address the rumors about a possible return to MMA. Now with CM Punk in the news, rumors have surfaced about Alberto, who has some mixed martial arts experience, maybe returning to the cage, and he talks a bit about that as well. So absolutely, positively, a very newsworthy interview, and we've got it all right here. As I said, a good 2 months before you could even check it out in the magazines. In fact, you can't even read the print version of the April PWI magazine now. You can't download it online, and it is a biggie. It's our big Year in Wrestling issue. Has all the awards, achievement awards. We had publisher Stu Sachs here last week with Dan and I talking about all the awards. By now, you've heard some of the news. Brock Lesnar, the Wrestler of the Year for 2014, despite having wrestled just over an hour all year in, I believe, 4 matches. That certainly made some news. And if you want to read what that was all about, why fans voted for him, and who else took home some awards in 2014, definitely pick up the digital edition of Pro Wrestling Illustrated's April issue. You can do that right now at pwi-online.com. While you're there, subscribe. Rather than worrying about picking it up at the newsstands, have it delivered to your mailbox, and at a deep discount over the cover price, you can get 6 issues for less than $21. That's about $3.50 an issue, half off the cover price. Subscribe for 12 issues and get an even deeper discount at $39. And as I said, you can get the digital edition right now, and the digital edition always drops weeks before the print edition. So if you want it fast, you want it timely, that's the way to go. Looks great on your laptop, mobile device, tablet, what have you. And what's more, it's even cheaper than the print edition. You get 6 issues for $14.99. That's $2.50 an issue. A great option. So you definitely want to do that. You can check all that out at pwi-online.com. As I always say, follow us on social media. Official PWI on Twitter. Find us on Facebook. The annual Year in Wrestling issue is one of the biggest issues and most anticipated issues of the year. As I said, it's got all the achievement awards. Also has a look back on 2014. Some amazing pictures, a lot of which you haven't seen all year. And again, recaps of major events, tributes to some wrestlers who we lost in 2014, and so much more. If you're a regular reader of PWI, you know how special the Year in Wrestling is. You know about all the great features in each and every issue of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, including the press conference interview. It's going to be the only place where you can read the full transcript of my hour-long interview with Alberto the Patron, and there's a lot that you won't hear here in this podcast. So again, the only way to see the unfiltered, unedited, long-form interview with Alberto is to pick up that issue. You got a long time from now, but let's get to it. I began the interview by asking Alberto about his decision to join Lucha Underground, whether he thought he would be a good fit there, and listen closely to something he says here. It might foreshadow some comments that he makes later in this interview. He talks a bit about somebody who might join him at Lucha Underground. So let's check out what he said.
Yeah, I mean, all my friends are there, and some other friends are coming to the company pretty soon. The other one is going to be a huge, big surprise for everybody. Just like when I joined them last weekend, everybody was in shock because, as you know, other companies were trying to get me, and at the end I decided to go there because, number one, the right people is there, and the lucha style is the style where I started 15 years ago. And but what the company wants from me is to give the audience, to give the lucha underground fans that combination of the Mexican style with the American style, and nobody else can do it the way I do it. Well, maybe not maybe Ray can do it too, but there's only 2 guys who can combine those styles in the ring at the same moment.
Now, this is just me speculating, but I thought it was really interesting that Alberto talked about somebody joining him in Lucha Underground that would really shock some fans, and certainly made it sound like it would be somebody who would make a lot of sense the way he did, maybe another legendary lucha name, and obviously, seconds later, brings up the name Rey Mysterio, who is still under contract, I believe, to WWE, but somebody who we haven't seen in a long, long time. And whatever the case is with Ray, certainly WWE's not getting a lot of use out of him. And you got to wonder. Alberto talks a little bit more about it later in this interview. Before you could see Alberto wrestle on Lucha Underground, you could check him out in Ring of Honor, where he became part of the team a few weeks ago. Already has at least 1 match under his belt. I think it's a great fit, as he is in Lucha Underground. The fans of Ring of Honor have taken to him right away, and why wouldn't they? They're fans of good wrestling, and Alberto certainly has shown what he can do. I asked Alberto if Ring of Honor was something that was on his radar when he was in WWE, or if he's just now getting exposed to the ROH product.
Oh, no, they're fantastic, of course. Of course I heard about them. Of course I've watched some of their shows. As you know, I was always on the road when I was working for WWE. I was in 280, 90 shows per year. But every time I had the chance to watch their product, I did it because I think it's one of the best ones out there. And me being able to work for them, it was fantastic because all those kids have a lot of talent. They're so creative, and once I was out of WWE, of course, I was going to try to work for Ring of Honor.
Alberto, they're really putting over Ring of Honor as a major league promotion. That's a real feather in the cap for them, and it speaks, I think, a lot to how much they've grown in the last couple of years as a national force. that not only would a guy like Alberto Del Rio, the former Alberto Del Rio, go to work there, but he talks about it like it was a given. Of course, I would go to Ring of Honor. Interesting that one place Alberto did not turn up. You know, he tested the waters in Ring of Honor and even Lucha Underground, but the other major nationally televised wrestling promotion, TNA, he decided to pass on. And there have been some stories floating around about why that might be, whether he had any issues with the product, and Alberto talked about that.
I don't have anything but respect for TNA. They made a really good offer to me, and I'm really grateful for that. The reason I didn't go there is because those guys from Lucha Underground, they helped me through all this legal process against WWE. So I owe them that. It was not a matter of not wanting to go to TNA. It was just that Lucha Underground and AAA Mexico, they paid for the legal services. They introduced me to my lawyer, and the reason I'm working right now is because of them. Because as you know, WWE wanted me to stop working in the United States for a year, and that was going to happen if it wasn't for these guys. So I'm a stand-up guy. I'm if you help me, I will return the favor one day, and that's what I'm doing with them. And plus, they gave me a good offer. The money was there. The proposal to join a good product with a good crowd was there. So I said yes. So when I said yes to Underground, of course I called the people in TNA, and I said, listen, thank you for the opportunity, thank you for the offer, but I need to go here. I need to go with these guys because my friends are going to be working there. Some of them are there already, and I owe this to those guys because if it wasn't for them, I would probably be just working in Mexico, Japan, and somewhere else, but here in the States.
That's interesting. What you just said. So they footed your legal bill. I mean, that suggests that they really wanted you there and had been thinking about this for some time. Is that right?
Well, they wanted me everywhere. They wanted me in Mexico, and they wanted me here. I mean, it was just not because I never said that if they helped me because they wanted to have me in Mexico, but and they said, well, and that will help you everywhere else. So when they were doing it, I talked to the owner of AAA Mexico, and I said, listen, I don't know if I want to stay just working in the Indies, or if I just want to take a year off in the States, or if I want to go to TNA. So if you help me with this, doesn't mean I have to go with you. And he was like, no, I'm doing this because I want to have you in Mexico. And if at the end you decide to go with us in Underground, fantastic. And if you go to TNA, no problems. We have a contract in Mexico, and that's the place where I want you right now. If you join us in the States, it will be great, but you are not forced to do it if you don't want to.
Some really interesting information there shared by Alberto el Patron. Talks about AAA and Lucha Underground footing his legal bill in his litigation with WWE. Fascinating stuff. I mean, I think that really talks about what a commodity he was. That they'd be willing to do that, even though, as he said, he gave him no assurances that he was going to go work for either of them. You know, it's interesting. It shows the difference in perception. Alberto was clearly a major name in WWE and on the national and because of WWE, the international wrestling scene for the years that he was there. But clearly in the last year or two was downplayed quite a bit, but that did enough to hurt his reputation in Mexico, where he's from, where he remains a major star, and it looks like they were willing to move heaven and earth to get him to be part of their team. But even while keeping busy in Lucha Underground and Ring of Honor with all the independent bookings that he's taken, I can help but wonder what his financial situation is. I mean, once you leave WWE, the big leagues, or at least the perceived big leagues of professional wrestling, where you are a main event star for a number of years, can you make a living working piecing together a salary, working for different promotions, a lot of them upstart promotions. Alberto answered that pretty clearly.
I can tell you this: I'm doing pretty much the same money I was doing in WWE in my good years.
Yeah.
Because last year was totally different. Last year was when I started to have some problems, some issues with somebody over there, somebody important in that company, and that's when everything changed. So the money wasn't the same, and that's why I started to think about not resigning with them, because at the end of the day, yes, we love this business, we have passion for it, but we need to pay our bills. So that's the reason I wasn't happy over there, and I had phone calls from all my friends around the world, and they were always saying, "Hey man, I mean, Jesus, we're making this amount of money down here in Mexico, and brother, you and Ray are like God and the devil in wrestling words here in Mexico. So you guys could make 2-3 times more than what we're doing." And then my friends from Japan did the same. So that's when I started to think leaving WWE. So for me, it's fantastic. I'm doing pretty much the same money. I can, to put a percentage, I'm doing like the 90% of the money I was doing with WWE, but doing only 100 shows per year.
Right.
So the way I see it is, I'm making more money because I'm having less dates and pretty much for the same amount that I was making over there.
Alberto talking about how sometimes the grass, I guess, is greener on the other side. A lot to take away from that. One thing in particular, again, bringing up Rey Mysterio as being not only a big name, but about as big as it gets in the world of Lucha. And again, when he was dropping those hints about somebody joining him in Lucha Underground, I can't. And again, he didn't say any of this. This is my own guessing, conclusions that I'm drawing. I can't believe that it's a coincidence that he mentioned a major name joining him in Lucha Underground, and then put over Ray as glowingly as he did. You also started here there some of the frustrations with how he left WWE. It was something that I certainly was interested in, but knew that we'd probably constrained somewhat by whatever the settlement was he reached with WWE. But he was, as much as he could, up for talking about it. And he made it real clear that the arrival of a certain unnamed WWE office worker was the beginning of the end.
Yeah, because again, when everything changed, when this person came to the company, when this person and I started to have some issues, and I knew it. Everything was going to change because now they're a company in a different way.
Yeah.
And there's no money. I mean, there's money, of course, for Cena, for Show, for Randy, but all the other superstars are doing $500 per show. I mean, I was doing more than that 15 years ago when I started in Mexico. It's just ridiculous that a guy who is supposed to be a main eventer in the so-called biggest pro wrestling company in the world is making $500 per show. It's just bad. So of course there's life out of WWE. If you have talent, if you have the talent, don't be afraid. Just go somewhere else and make more money. Of course, WWE gave me a name, put me out there, made me. I went from being a national superstar to be a global superstar. And yes, I always gonna be thankful to WWE for that. But of course, they did it because I was giving them my heart and my soul every single night in the ring.
Alberto Del Rio venting his frustrations with his money situation there toward the end in WWE. When he talks about wrestlers making $500 a night, that really is pretty incredible. I mean, when you think about these guys being international celebrities, action figures, TV stars, packed arenas, paying to see them, and $500 a night. I mean, I can think of a lot of blue-collar folks who make that much or more. I mean, it's not a small amount of money, but again, when you think about major television stars, I defy